Q Time is a classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavill, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Standing in today, Mike Washington is still on assignments. I don't know what he's doing and how he's getting it done, but we got none other than Tyler Carr, HBCU Game Day. Look who we stole and got out the ship. Man, it's going to be on and popping today. Welcome to episode 124 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering and supporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports from institutions large and small, from NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights, information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. And as I said, Mike Washington is on assignment, so we didn't pull the heavyweights out. Mr. Tyler Carr, none other than the HBCU Game Day legend in the flesh. Well, I guess we had him on the screen, so not quite in the flesh, but you get the idea. We are filming from our home studios and sending a signal live from our KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper, and the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that, Charles, you on the golf links. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I was on the golf links today, played in the W.C. Gordon, Ashley Robinson golf tournament here in Jackson, and had a great time out there. I played with my Jackson State AD, Ashley Robinson, and Jay Walker out there. So had a ball out there. Even one closer to the pin today. Man,
that's all right. Are you sharing any of the prize, mother?
No, thank you.
Tyler, you see how he does you? Do you see that? Well, welcome, Tyler. Let me get you appropriate welcome. You see how we down on the show?
Well, Doc, you get top billing. You get to talk all the time. You can't get a cut. You can't get a cut of the prize money too, man. You gotta let Charles live a little bit.
Just a little bit.
He's in on the secret. Did you call him first before me? How did this work? He's supposed to be on my team.
Charles called me after the game last weekend. We've been talking all week, though.
Oh man,
I know, right?
Good. I thought I had it going on. I liked it. But seriously, Tyler, welcome to the show, and it's exciting to have you. I think we're going to have a really good show, and as you see, we've been bringing on guests the last couple of weeks. We're spreading out the framework, and we're creating a new framework of how we introduce and create the partnerships that we believe we need to have. So we're glad that you answered the call. As they say, we appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Looking forward to the next hour and change.
Let's get it done. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that, let's jump right into it. I'm going to start with you, Charles Bishop, as we like to call on him at times, Professor Bishop. How's it going? What are some HBCU news of the day?
Well, I thought this was very interesting news, and this comes from Bethune-Cookman. But Vanessa Blair Lewis, she's leaving Bethune-Cookman for a new job. She, former four-time MEAC Women's Basketball Coach of the Year. She will be moving on. She will be moving on and taking the job at University of Tennessee George Mason. I'm sorry, forgive me. She'll be leaving Bethune-Cookman and going to George Mason. So definitely want to kudos to Vanessa Blair Lewis in terms of what she was able to get done at Bethune-Cookman, and now taking her talents on to George Mason.
Going back to Tyler Carr, straight out of Atlanta, what is some of the hot news? And you all bring the news all the time, keep us all up to date. Anything outside of what you just popped up on HBCU Game Day? Do you got anything news that you want to share, or you gonna go back to the tried and true? What you got for us today?
Well, not big news, but a feel good moment. There's some news out there now. I know FAMU announced some more of that. Or that Power Five on their schedule, and Hampton is re-embracing their HBCU rivalries with some future opponents. You can find all that at hbcugameday.com. But last night, guys, I was at Morehouse, their spring football game, the conclusion of spring football. And I just thought it was a really special moment because Morehouse was really significant in the beginning of the pandemic. They were the first college and first athletic program to cancel its football season. So they were ahead of the curve in many respects. And to see them out there last night and Coach Freeman being able to get his guys back in the program, they did have a lot of opt-outs with this blessing. But I was really happy to see them back out on the field and looking forward to our Division II brethren getting back in the football picture because they've really been out of the limelight. The SWAC has jumped in there. The Mad Max MEAC schedule of the spring, they've got a little bit of action. I know we're going to talk about that later. So we got that video up from spring practice last night. So if you're a big Morehouse fan, you can go to our YouTube channel after this show and see how things are going there in Atlanta as they get back to football.
No doubt about it. Great inside information. About Morehouse, you're right. They kind of set the stage when they said, no, not this year. And then you had some other folks that jumped on, including from a conference perspective, whether that was totally shutting down or at least the delaying it. So the fact that they're back in business, even with the spring component, is significant. Very intriguing. Let me shout out some people before we move forward with some other updates. Alan Malone, George Walker has jumped in here checking us out. Chuck Hunt is always in the house, and he says, "What's going on, Tyler?" Willie Mack, Demetria Glenn, Joe Walker, Corey Collins, Quentin Henry, all in the house. Dwight Moore, so HBCU 1-1. Yes, we're going to bring it hot and heavy. Let's jump back to it, and I'll give some more shout outs as we continue to go. Jerome Jeep Sutton is in here checking us out today. With that, Charles Bishop, what other news did you want to share today?
Well, this news came from Florida A&M. So they announced this Power 5 and Group of 5 football opponents for the next few years. And this was released today. Vice President, Director of Athletics, Courtney Gaucher, released a slate of future non-conference football opponents, which will certainly continue to raise the profile of the department. So listen to these future non-conference opponents. In 2021, the FAMU Rattlers will be taking on Fort Valley State, University of South Florida, South Carolina State University. 2022, they will take on University of North Carolina, Albany State, and SCSU again. 2023, they will be taking on University of South Florida as well as South Carolina State. 2024, Troy University and University of Miami will be on the schedule. 2026, University of Miami, the Hurricanes again. 2027, it will be University of Alabama, Birmingham, and University of South Florida. And in 2028, they will be taking on the Bulldogs of Georgia. So quite a slate of non-conference opponents that the FAMU Rattlers will be taking on over the next 7 years or so.
Before I get to Tolly in terms of his thoughts on this, I want to stay with you, Charles, in terms of this question. What are your thoughts in terms of having your schedule fixed that far in advance? Are you a fan of that? You know, this is the first time we're starting to see that. And I think it helped that the SWAC created a 10-year schedule in terms of the conference. And so now you see, and this is old news for FBS, they've always tried to schedule out many years in advance. What are your thoughts in terms of seeing HBCU? Are you a fan of that?
At least as a fan who's traveling to games and whatnot. Now I know where I'm going for the next X number of years. So so to have that frame of mind of knowing who we're going to be playing over the next number of years so that I can plan and travel in advance. I think that's great that you put that information out there for the fans. That'll leave a whole lot of flexibility should things shake up, the things of that nature, because we've seen that happen. But it should be very interesting with FAMU. I'm a fan of it. I kind of like it.
No doubt about it. Tolly, in terms of your thoughts, I mean, we understand the business of playing FBS. You need it to make sure that you can get the additional funding associated. But outside of that, as you cover HBCUs, are you a fan of teams playing up, particularly the FCS teams playing FBS programs? Or is that something that you rather see matchups of equal caliber, at least in terms of divisional status?
Well, I think it's twofold. So one of the components is the hype and the talk leading up to the game. So when you have that FBS opponent on your schedule, that generates a lot of talk, and that's good for members of the media and people who make a living doing this. And every once in a while, you feel like the school really has an opportunity. You know, you hate to keep throwing out there, hey, remember that time Howard beat UNLV? You know, I don't really think about UNLV as a football powerhouse. You know, I'm thinking Larry Johnson is the first thing that's coming to my mind. But hey, they beat the odds. It's in the record books. But the one thing I really like about what Charles had to say there, Charles, they play South Florida, what, three, 4 times in there?
3 or 4 times out of that, exactly.
So what that does is, if Willie Simmons is there for the duration, that gives his program a chance to analyze and measure where they are. It's not a one-off series. So no one is expecting FAMU to come out of the gates and beat, South Florida. But if they play them within 21 the first year and then 14 or 17 the next year, it really gives you a good marker to see where your program is as far as playing above and beyond your level. Because to be the top team in the SWAC, which is where they're going, obviously, they can't just be, an average FAMU team. If they want to really capitalize on that situation, they got to be above and beyond their talent level so they can really get it done in the SWAC. So having the ability to have that kind of benchmark playing USF that many times, I really do like that.
That's a great point when you talk about how you continue to measure yourself up and you have one team that you can really focus on. Obviously, they may do some changes, but it gives you that framework of as you continue to push forward where you're going with your program. I noticed also you all put out there on HBCU Game Day, and I think you touched on this a little bit, but let's go a little deeper in this. The MEAC sets record straight on playoffs. That information came out today, and y'all took a deep dive in there. I thought it was great to get that information. And so I want to get you all's opinion on what this means and just your general thoughts on it. Essentially what it's saying is the MEAC is basically ineligible for the FCS playoffs because no matter how many teams they had in the conference or those teams playing within the conference, even though they didn't have a set conference schedule given a championship, they still were going to be able to hold a FCS bid as a conference. But because everybody doesn't play quote unquote a round robin, then their eligibility of that playoff bid is no longer for them able to have it. So I was fascinated about that. And then you get into is COVID-19 and restrictions, and maybe you can give us a little more insight. Generally speaking, it's my understanding that this district city basically had a policy in regards to how individuals travel into the state. And essentially, South Carolina State coming where they are outside of the state weren't able to travel into that, or they're not able to travel down to South Carolina, which counts as the first game. And that's where we got the Alabama A&M South Carolina State game, if you would have it. But going to you, Charles, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the first thing I thought about in terms of reading it, I thought about the athletes themselves in terms of everything that they put in, trying to get, this games in the MEAC, and it's just seemed like it's been one headache after another. We knew that it was going to kind of happen with COVID, but for this to be kind of the culmination of the spring, my heart went out to them because I just thought that was just a difficult thing to deal with. It's already been difficult enough to deal with COVID, but for this to kind of be the cherry on the sundae, if you will, that it just COVID being what it is, it just did them in, and you just felt bad for them. That was really kind of how I thought about it.
So in a lot of ways, it was looking like South Carolina State probably would have been the representative. I know they still got to play Delaware State, so forgive me if I'm jumping.
But they're playing. They're playing. I mean, each other. It's just there's not a lot of competition within the majority of the media.
All the conferences are doing it. I mean, some are playing 4 or 5 games, some are not. They playing 2. So I mean, you're not going to get a true measure whether you're the coastal. I mean, Big South, Big Sky, OVC. They're all like that playing a couple of games. So I'm not so sure that gives me pause. But I guess my question I was going to get to you, Tolly, was before you give your thoughts on that, if South Carolina State wins out, will they have enough to get quote unquote an at-large bid?
It's tough to say, but I will go backtrack and say this. It shouldn't have been of any surprise. When I saw it, I was like, duh, because Howard, as soon as Howard said, we're not going to South Carolina State, South Carolina State's not coming here. I mean, it was dead in the water. And I'm not Dr. Fauci, and I'm not an expert on all these rules, but when I did look it up, the federal government can't ban interstate travel, but what they did, and neither can local authorities, but they put into place measures that if you went to South Carolina and came back, that you had to undergo all this testing, and then you had to quarantine. And it wasn't because it was South Carolina, it was because of the rate of infection of a state. And South Carolina has been leading the way with infection rates. So for Howard, with a limited spring schedule as it is, and I'm assuming no real thought and push of winning a national championship, the juice really wasn't worth the squeeze there, is my opinion. Like, are we going to go through all these protocols and have to have people quarantined and potentially, spend money on testing day after day just to make a trip to South Carolina? So when all this came out, I was like, we knew this was going to happen because the rules are in place. They don't play each other. So when we got to that point, I think the FCS wanted them to stay in there because they need some people to play because it's springtime. So that might benefit South Carolina State, especially if the field is kind of, shrunk down based upon, how it is. But it was breaking news that was already broken, the way I saw that story.
No problem with that. Appreciate that insight. We have our guest of the evening with us, Alabama A&M football coach Cornell Maynor of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Thank you, Coach. Welcome to Inside HBCU Sports Lab.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Man, it's our pleasure. We're just talking about the MEAC and the fact that the announcement came off that they wouldn't have their automatic bid. You're familiar with the MEAC in regards to your time with Hampton and previous as you played with North Carolina A&T as a star quarterback, and then obviously being in that general facility with the stuff you did with Winston-Salem State. Your resume is so thick, we can't announce it all here, or we wouldn't have a chance to really get into the question. But now you're the head football coach at Alabama A&M as of 2018, January 16th, they announced you coming in. But let's get into this matchup in terms of Jackson State. I know you've had time to really break down the film. What are your thoughts going in this game? What are the things that the Alabama A&M Bulldogs want to get done in this game?
Well, first of all, we want to do the little things. We want to take care of the football offensively. The last football game we played, we didn't do that very well. We had 4 turnovers, and we need to get that corrected. And, if we win the turnover battle, we got a great chance to win every football game that we play. So it has to start there offensively, taking care of the football. We know we're going to throw the ball down the field and we're going to move the ball, but we have to take care of it. We have to not turn it over. We get in the red zone. We got to at least get an opportunity to score the football, either field goal or by a touchdown. And defensively, we got to keep flying around the way we did in the first game against South Carolina State and keep the pressure on the quarterback with that front 4 and those front 7, getting those run fits and just keep flying around on defense and special teams. We played decent on special teams the first game, so we need to continue to do that. And we see where, of course, Jackson got 2 punts blocked. So we saw that, of course, and we're going to try to come after a punt or 2 and see if we can't block one. But I know they know what they did wrong, and so they're going to try to get it fixed. That's what football coaches do. So we're going to see if they got it fixed and try to get us a punt or 2.
I like that. Go after weakness that you see on film, try to make it work. Let me let Charles Bishop jump in here and ask a follow-up question.
Okay.
Coach Maynor, how you doing?
Great. How you doing, Charles?
I want to ask, Jackson State making the quarterback change this upcoming week for this game. Is there any concern on your part with regard to having enough film on Quincy Casey in terms of his strengths and weaknesses?
No, not really. I think he's a dual threat quarterback also. I think he's probably a little bit better passer than Jones, and so I think that's why they probably making the switch. I think Jones is probably a little banged up too, probably with a groin that he had previously. And they probably just weren't happy with the way they throwing the ball right now. So they decided to make a switch and give Quincy an opportunity. And so our game plan is not going to change because both of those guys can run the ball and both of those guys can throw the ball and beat you with their arm. And they got some dangerous wide receivers, big receiver, number 9, and they got number 10, the all-purpose wide receiver. So they got some weapons. I don't know if the running back is going to be back. I know he got hurt last game and went out the game in the 4th quarter. But I don't know if he'll be back. He probably will. Running backs are tough. And, they take a beating and keep on ticking. So we'll see. But, we just got to sure up our tackles on defense, play our assignments, don't give them anything easy, no big plays, and make them earn it.
For yourself, you haven't played since March 6th. What are you kind of expecting from your team? I know all the cancellations have been a bit of a headache, but are you expecting for there to be a little bit of rust?
Well, I hope not, but if it does, it won't surprise me, because we don't have but one game of game speed, and they got 5 games of game speed. So, you can't duplicate game speed in practice. And so that's what we got to get back used to is game speed. So hopefully we can get acclimated to it real quick here, a quarter and a half, and we be back to game speed, playing full speed. If we can try to keep it close until we can get used to game speed and start playing the way we know we can play. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we come out and don't miss a beat. But to be honest with you, that's going to probably be hard not to do.
Thank you, Coach. Let me go to Tyler Carr and let you jump in here with a follow-up question.
Hey, Coach Maynor, man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good. When you it's as you just said, it's almost going to be like the first game for you guys. The temperature is going to be a little warmer down there in Jackson, Mississippi, probably. Not only the timing of your offense and defense might be an issue. Are you worried about typical first game type issues like cramps and pulls and conditioning, because you just can't replicate what it's going to feel like in practice when you get into a game?
Exactly. And I told our guys that, when we run, I tell them, listen, man, this ain't punishment. This is for you. This is for us to be in shape. We don't want to lose a game because we're out of shape. I said, them guys are playing a game. This is last Saturday. I said, they playing a game today. We're not playing a game. They getting 80, 70, 80, 90 game reps at game speed. I said, so when we run, you got to really push yourself so we can get in shape, and we won't be cramping up. If it's going to be a hot day, if it's a fourth quarter game, we're playing on that grass that's a little bit slower, it's very easily we can start cramping up. So hopefully that's not the case, because, when those games get canceled, I can't practice every day for 2 straight weeks. I got to give them some off days. So we'll go 2 days, off 2 days, go a day, off a day. And so the conditioning part is a big issue.
Another question I have really quick. I asked you this during the press conference on Monday. I've covered you for a long time as a coach, and I know how good you are on the mic, and you have fun with it. It's nothing serious. But I'm assuming here, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you and Deion Sanders don't know each other that well, and you're not familiar with each other personally. What would it take for you guys to get to know each other and maybe start going back and forth? Give us some little jabs here. 2 guys that are really good at promoting and bringing a fun environment ahead of the game.
It don't take much. You know that. It don't take much.
That's the coach I know.
As long as Coach Sanders know that it's all to promote his team and my team and the game and his showmanship, and it's nothing personal and things of that nature, he can come at me, I can go at him, and we can have fun and have everybody post all kind of stuff and have it, okay, it's Maynor versus Deion. I mean, I had a lot of my friends say, oh, I'm going to be at that game. If y'all ever played in the Classic, I'm going to be at the press conference, because, y'all two are 2 of the best at trash talking and doing what y'all do. So they say I wouldn't miss it for the world. And, that's good. I mean, it's okay to have fun as long as you're having fun at the right time.
No doubt about it, Coach. You know how to have fun and you know how to win. But let's go back a little bit, since we didn't get to do that early and we're getting a little insight. Where did that come from, and when did that start? Well, I don't know. I think I said this a long time ago that I'm a man of God, and I got confidence, and I believe in I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So it's power in the tongue. And you can speak stuff into existence, and you got to have confidence. And some people say it's cockiness. I don't. I say it's confidence, and I believe in what I say. The Bible says I can have what I say, so I say it. When I first got to Winston-Salem, the first press conference, I told them we're gonna win a championship. We're gonna win a national championship. We're gonna play for a national championship. And everybody looked at me like, man, what's wrong with this dude? He's crazy. Even my own coaches say, Coach, that first year you was the only one that believed that, but you made everybody else believe it. And year 2, we were 13-1, 1 game away from that championship. Year 3, we was in the championship. So, you got to give them that mindset. If you got to give them something to believe in, something to shoot for. So you got to set that goal, and then you got to put things in place to reach that goal. What are you going to do now to accomplish that goal? You want to make straight A's and straight B's, but you're not going to study hall. You're not going to class. You're not studying. You're not going to make straight A's and B's. So once you say you're going to make straight A's and B's, now you got to put the plan together how you're going to make the straight A's and B's. And so if you say you're going to win that championship, you're going to win a conference, then you got to put the stuff in place and how you're going to do it.
Hey, Doc, let me co-sign on what Coach Maynor just said. When he was at Winston-Salem State, I was in Winston-Salem at the time, and I had a production company, and we produced commercials for WSSU. And Coach Maynor came to our office downtown, and before the season got underway, we produced promos, and Coach Maynor said, all right, we're 1-0, see you next week. We're 2-0, we'll see you next. He went through the whole season undefeated, recorded on tape before the season started, and I think only 1 week threw him off. So he's talking about speaking it into existence. I can testify to that.
Man, let's testify. I'm gonna take him back a little bit too, since we going down memory lane. You remember coming to Texas Southern University and interviewing for a head football coaching job? You went and met with Mr. Kevin Granger and just talked about it and said, hey, if y'all win, I'm your man. Things didn't work out that manner, but I was in the session when you interviewed, and I was extremely impressed. I don't know if you remember me from that, but I certainly told everybody in there, I said, he's a winner. I said, y'all crazy. Y'all can say what you want. He's a winner. And the question came up in terms of Division II, and that Winston-Salem State was dropping down, and you broke it down how players are not here. We went out and recruited players, and that stuck with me in terms of the fortitude you have. And I say all that to say in regards to talk about the next step for the SWAC. I know your focus is about Alabama A&M and bringing a championship to Alabama A&M and Huntsville in that area. But what are your thoughts in terms of expansion now? I know this is a little late because a lot of people have asked this, but for our viewers and listeners, as you work through this season and you get prepared for the fall with Bethune-Cookman and FAMU coming into the SWAC, what does it do to the SWAC overall brand compared to what you experienced when you were in the MEAC and the CIAA?
Oh, top to bottom, every team has a chance at the beginning of the season to think that they're going to play for a championship, and rightfully so. I'm pretty sure every game is going to come down to the fourth quarter. Going to be one possession games. We got the S&S boys, the S&S men coming in here, Sims and Simmons.
Yeah.
Yes, Sims and Simmons. So we got them boys coming here, and them boys can coach, man. They got some good football teams. They play some good football, and they're going to be expecting to come in and win our division and have a chance to play for the SWAC championship. And we're gonna be expected to defend our title, and so that's what we're gonna be looking to do. We're gonna be defend our title when FAMU and Bethune get here, and so we welcome the challenge, man. It's gonna be a great challenge. Now you're talking about we got to beat Alabama State in the Classic. And you throw out the records in that game, it don't matter what the record is. It's gonna be a great football game. You got Deion Sanders and Jackson State. You got Mississippi Valley on the uprise, being competitive every week. Okay, now I got to play FAM and I got to play Bethune. Then they cross me over and I got to go play Southern or Grambling or Alcorn or Prairie View or Pine Bluff, who's good now. So it's just no easy games anymore. You got to strap up every week, and I want like it. I love it. I love it this way. This is the way I want it. I want to have to compete every week. Let's go. Bring it.
Go ahead, Charles. Jump in there.
Iron sharpens iron.
Well, Coach, I wanted to ask this question. How big is it for the nation to see a quarterback like Aqeel Glass? You'll be get the national coverage on Saturday. How big is it for your program and for Aqeel?
It's huge. It's huge for both us, Jackson, the SWAC, and Aqeel, and our wide receivers, our whole team. For him to be on national TV, for us to play on national TV, and get a national audience to be watching, which we know they are. We're gonna lose a couple of fans to the Masters, but that's okay. But the scouts, all the NFL teams and scouts will be able to look and see that we got a quality program here, and we play quality football in the SWAC, and we got a top-notch quarterback that can make every throw that any NFL quarterback can make. All he needs is the opportunity.
Coach, would you stick with us for a quick break? We want to wrap up the interview on the other side. Do you mind staying with us a couple of minutes?
Hey, I ain't got nothing to do for about 44 hours.
Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Sitting in for Mike Washington is none other than Tyler Carr, HBCU Game Day, and we're interviewing the Alabama A&M football coach Cornell Maynor, championship coach, with us in terms of bringing it to us. We'll be right back after this quick break to finish up the interview. Stick with us.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
I'm returning to Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter. Talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. As we said, Mike Washington's out on assignment. We're in with HBCU game Tyler Carr and the head football coach of Alabama A&M, Coach Cornell Maynor. If you missed the outtakes, that's your fault. Too bad you couldn't be behind the camera because it's entertaining right here. Coach is the real deal. Some of y'all are going to get a chance to really get to know Coach, and he is about the business, and he has a way to keep you laughing. With that said, since we're jockeying up a little bit, I know you put out there that you reached out to Texas Southern University to play a football game, and they decided it wasn't in their interest or whatever reason they couldn't get it done. Were you going, if you had a chance to come down there, were you going to show out based on the interview or anything, or was it just another football game?
Well, we just want to play another game, you know, and that the reason why is because I didn't want to be in this position where I'm playing my second game, and whoever I was playing their fourth or their fifth or their sixth football game. It's just, you know, I didn't want to be in this position. So I just wanted to play, you know. We called everybody, you know. We called all the other conferences too. And some of them said they want to play out of their conference and things of that nature. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, we can't make nobody play us. All we can do is ask them and we go play, you know.
It's true. Especially with COVID protocols, some teams seem to be running the other way. But that's me. That's not you, Coach. That's me saying that. Let me let Tyler Carr jump back in here if I get myself in trouble.
He trying to push my buttons, ain't he? It don't take much. It don't take much.
Oh, boy.
I'm working on it. We got a limited time, so we try to get back in there. Tyler, we followed up. You want to follow up? I was trying to push Coach Maynor's button. He wouldn't go for it, so I was going to let you jump in here and see if you can get him to answer a question and loosen up a little bit.
Well, Coach, I got two questions. One very simple. Coach, what is life like post-mustache? You and I have that in common. I noticed your bio, you still have the thick mustache. I used to have one. And I know people that say they don't trust a black man who doesn't have a mustache. How's life been since then?
It's been good. It's been good. You know, my mustache got a couple grays in it. So I said, you know what? Time for you to go, buddy. Once it start getting them grays, I say it's time to go, buddy.
Yeah,
had to let it go.
I know that feeling. Back to football here. I was so happy to see you land on your feet at Alabama A&M. And of course, no disrespect to Winston-Salem State. That's where I graduated from. Hampton, little high society for me. But when I saw you land at A&M, I was like, this is the perfect spot for you in Southern football. What has life been like? What has the vibe been like for you, man, since you've been in the SWAC?
It's been great. A&M, I'm forever grateful for the A&M for hiring me and bringing me here and giving me the opportunity to coach here. And the community, it's just been warming. The fans, the university, everybody's. And so, we got it turned around. We got the ship turned around, heading in the right direction. 2 winning seasons. And, they hadn't had a winning season since 2011 before I got here. So we got to head in the right direction, and we're on championship run now. So everything is well. Everybody likes you when you win, Telly.
That's true. That's very true. Can you share, obviously, as North Carolina A&T alumni, can you tell us in regards to, did you have any thoughts in terms of the decision with North Carolina A&T deciding to move from the MEAC to the Big South?
No, I didn't. That was Chancellor Martin, and he's done a super job since taking over Chancellor there and got that university turned around, not only in athletics, but administrative-wise. They're the largest HBCU, and that's strictly on his back and his watch. And he's done nothing but an excellent job. And every decision that he's made has been the right decision, in my opinion. So I'm pretty sure he had a good reason why he wanted to do it. And I support him.
No problem. Certainly like your insight, and makes a lot of sense there. Last thing,
I was hoping they played this spring so I could meet them in the Celebration Bowl and they go down.
Right, because that would have been another person you could have called to set up a game, and that would have been really exciting.
I would have called him too.
Do you think there would be a possibility in terms of down the road non-conference games that you might jump out there and see if you can get that game still?
We might do that because the Big South probably only have 7 teams.
Yeah, it looks like leaving it'll be down to 5 or 6 actually.
Right, and so they're gonna be looking for a lot of non-conference games.
Yeah.
So it's a great possibility that we could play one of those guys, North Carolina Central, A&T, somebody else out of the MEAC. So just like South Carolina State, it's no big deal to me. I mean, you want to meet in Atlanta, we'll play in Atlanta. It don't matter. We can make it a classic. You don't have to come here. We don't have to go there. If they say it's too far, we can meet halfway. We look for a game, looking for a game. We want to play the best. We don't duck and dodge. Ain't no Evan Waters on my schedule.
Just saying. With that, Coach Maynor, we're gonna let you have the last word in terms of Alabama A&M fans. But anything that you want to share with the viewers, any last thoughts you want to share?
Did I want to share?
Yeah.
Oh, go Bulldogs! Hey, baby, y'all tune in ESPN this week, and we're gonna try to make you proud and give you the good show, offensive, defensive, special teams, and represent the way the Bulldogs represent.
No doubt about it. Thank you for your time, Coach. I know it's very valuable. Appreciate you showing up and showing out as you always do. Look forward to some post-game interviews. Good luck this weekend.
I got to give some love to my Aggies too. My Aggies, Aggie pride, baby. I graduated from there, but I'm working out.
They on here. Watch us. You got to give them love. They on here.
I got to give them some love. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
They'll be supporting this week.
There you go.
It's all good.
No doubt about it. Thank you, Coach, again for your time. This is Coach Cornell Maynor, Alabama A&M head football coach. Looking forward to a big game this week against Jackson State on ESPN. We'll show up and show out. We'll get to talk to them next week and give you an update. You better tune in because it's going to be entertaining. This is Dr. Cavill with Inside HBCU Sports Lab. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back to close out the show. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
True Black Essentials is a retail opportunity to bring Black businesses under one roof, where every product on every shelf in every aisle will be Black owned and Black produced by people all over the world. Statistics show that the $1.3 trillion of spending power that we have as Black people can easily be turned into each Black person having $2 billion if we were to shop Black for 2 years. So True Black Essentials will launch an e-commerce store on November 1st, 2020, but we will open up brick and mortar stores in Atlanta, New Orleans, Charlotte, Houston, and Jacksonville, with the very first store opening in Atlanta, June 19, 2021.
Talking about, they compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon'.
This is Dr. Ville with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. As you've heard, Mike Washington is still on assignment. Tyler Carr is in the studio repping HBCU game day and giving some information. So I'm gonna go straight back to you, Tyler Carr, since we're gonna talk about it a little bit. Let's get into it. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup between Jackson State and Alabama A&M?
It's the game that I've been looking forward all year, looking forward to. Number one, because I didn't know how it would go, but I knew, Doc, you and I have talked about this. I think for narratives and storylines and just for the fans to enjoy, Deion Sanders needs a foil. He needs somebody who can go back and forth with him, because part of swag football, man, is you got to talk that talk. And that's not part of our reality TV era. Historically, that's what coaches in the SWAC have done. You schooled me on the bus tours and how they used to say, we're going to get off the bus throwing the ball. And it was coordinated, and it was part of a bigger plan. So the excitement and the possibility of Coach Maynor and Deion Sanders going back and forth, that's one thing. But then when you look at the talent of Alabama A&M and where they're coming from and how they've come up through the ranks since Coach Maynor has been there, and of course all the hype about Jackson State, I'm really looking forward to it. It could not live up to expectations only because, man, Alabama A&M has been left standing at the altar for the last, 4 weeks in running. So you got to take that with a grain of salt when we see the game. But half the fun, man, is the talk and the expectations heading into the game. So there's going to be no disappointment on that part. We're just going to have to see how the game plays out on Saturday.
Yeah. That'd be scary. We made it past the Tuesday, Wednesday date. It's usually caught us. So hopefully we can finish out Thursday, and then maybe we'll be good and make it through to actually see this game be played. Let me go to Charles and get his insight. What are your thoughts overall with this game? And then we'll get into the matchups in terms of the X's and O's. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I think it'll be a fun one. One thing that you have to keep in mind is there's a storm front that's going to come through Jackson tonight. 80% chance of rain tonight, going into tomorrow. So look for a sloppy track. So I don't know how much that will affect Alabama A&M's passing attack. In addition to the time that they've been off. So like Coach Maynor said, it might take them a quarter and a half to kind of get acclimated to game speed. Jackson State needs to jump out on them quick if they're going to make hay in this game. But, a lot of fans are wanting to see what Quincy Case can do. I always say around Jackson State football, one of the most popular players is always the backup quarterback. It is what it is. So I think a lot of fans are really interested to see, can Quincy kind of get the ball downfield, because they have some downfield threats. But Jackson State defensively, I think it plays into their hands, because I think they have a very strong secondary, but they've been getting gashed running the football, and I'm not sure that's exactly a strong suit of Alabama A&M. Gary Qualls is a very good running back, but he's not Jordan Benton. So it'll be interesting to see how the matchup goes with Alabama A&M's offense and Jackson State's defense.
In terms of the matchup, Tyler, is anything that you have your eyes on that you'll be focused in regards to this game?
Well, I'm going to look how Casey handles the blitz because we know Alabama A&M is going to blitz. Everybody who's played Jackson State is going to blitz. Jackson State has known they're going to blitz. The fans have known they're going to blitz. So will a different quarterback with the same offensive line be able to make some quick reads on hot routes, dump the ball down? I don't think Casey is as good of a runner as Jalen Jones is. So his ability to work with what he's working with and the decisions he makes, if Alabama A&M is in a position to pin their ears back and go all out on the blitz, that's going to be interesting to see how he responds to that.
Care to give any predictions?
Oh, it's so tough, man. I think I would, if I had to bet money, I would bet on Jackson State because you just can't make up for missing all those games in a row. And if Jackson State can capitalize early on Alabama A&M coming up to speed, I put my money on Jackson State. If I had to predict, I would say Jackson State probably jumps out to a lead and holds on as Alabama A&M picks up speed in the second half and roars back. I hope we have a better game to be on ESPN this week. Last weekend was, just the anticipation, just the spectacle of the game was enough, but I don't think we want to see two. I don't know if last week counts as a blowout. It was close, but you definitely don't want to see two double-digit deficits 2 weeks running on ESPN.
Yeah, especially the way it played out in the second half. In the first half, like you said, there were some ways that you thought Jackson State was still in it and kept it close, but you're right. Interesting point in terms of the lag time, the delay, and how you believe that is going to come to play in this game. Great point when you make it. Let me go to Charles.
Those hamstrings, those abdominal muscles, man. Look, it ain't the same, bro. Playing against each other in practice is not the same as you forcing your will on another man who doesn't care anything about you. Those are
Coach
two
Maynor
different
said
circumstances.
He's concerned about that himself. So yeah, you're not talking about anything that is not real in regards to what players and coaches are looking at. Charles, any prediction you care to give on this game?
Well, I'm here in Jackson, and I got people inboxing me about what Coach Maynor said already, so I better say something right. So, yeah, I think Jackson State has a very good opportunity to get a win in this. But I tell you what, they're going to have to get some sort of pressure on Aqeel Glass, because that has been something that has been sorely lacking in terms of any sort of defensive pass rush. And we talked with Jackson State's offensive coordinator, Coach Pollard, and he was saying that right now, offensively, they can't play behind the chains. So that'll be something to kind of keep an eye on, especially with Quincy. What can they do on first and second down so they can get him in some third down situations where he can, make hay to keep the chains moving. So, I like Jackson State. They got to get some sort of running game going. That has been sorely missed in the past couple of weeks with Alabama State and Southern. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get some running going against Armani Holloway and Marcus Cushine, because those guys are really formidable defensive players for Alabama A&M.
Certainly. When you look at that, great points made there. Let's jump over Delaware State and Delaware. Somebody put out there, if Delaware State is able to somehow get that win over Delaware, does Delaware State get a bid to the playoffs, at-large bid? I can't see it. They're 0-2. Even though that'd be a huge win, you're just 1-2, and they still got to play South Carolina State. They get a win, they're 2-2. I still think they're outside looking in. Do you want to say anything about that matchup in terms of Delaware State, Tyler?
I do want to say something about South Carolina State. I don't have much to offer on the Hornets up there in Delaware. All love, though. South Carolina State said, you might be leaving the MEAC, but you are not leaving us. Holding on to FAMU, man, like, come on back. I love what South Carolina State is doing. They like playing football, man. They played Alabama State. They played Alabama A&M. They are not letting go of FAMU. I just like the spirit of South Carolina State.
No doubt about it. Not Bethune-Cookman either. So you're right. They were like, no, we gonna play some of these matchups down south. We gonna get it easy. So great point. Let's go into it then. The second matchup of the day is Mississippi Valley State and Alabama State. I know you were talking about traveling down there. You still planning to travel to that game this weekend?
Yeah, I got some family obligations, so I might be on fashionably late time, but I am going to be there. I'm intrigued about two things. I'm intrigued about where the SWAC championship is going to be, because I would prefer to drive to Montgomery and not Little Rock. No, I mean Pine Bluff. No disrespect. It's just a matter of distance and expenses here. But
Exactly.
the other thing is, I want to see if there's another step of improvement with Mississippi Valley State. They definitely made a big strides between their first and second game. They had a big gap, and they didn't have a lot of practice time before that Jackson State game. So if they were able to go into Montgomery this weekend and get a win against Alabama State, just think about what that does to the profile of the SWAC. Not only do you have newcomers, you have UAPB improved. If you got Mississippi Valley State where you just can't say, pencil in a win against them, I think that's an overall win for the conference. So, not everybody in the world gets excited about Valley. They've had some down and some lean years, but that's the game. What Coach Danzy is doing there and his attitude, I'm really going to be focused on that game this weekend.
Well, with that, we do a Sunday rewind where we just talk about the games on Saturday. So since you're down there, we might have to see if you can squeeze in some time for us on Sunday and sneak you back into the show to talk about that, because you're going to be live in the house, and we got obviously Charles down in Jackson. So we're going to get frontline updates and seats in terms of people understanding the game. So
and it sounds like y'all put some concrete shoes on Mike. We just haven't seen him, man. I don't know what y'all did, man.
This is being recorded, so we don't want no trouble. You hear nothing out of us. Nothing. With that, Charles, tell us about this Alabama State, Mississippi Valley State game. What are your thoughts there?
Coach Hill Ely, he made mention to it on our program, the consistency thing with Alabama State. Which Alabama State team are you going to see? Are you going to see the one that really hammered Jackson State in the fourth quarter? Or are you going to see the one from last week that couldn't find any offense against South Carolina State? And you got to be careful with Valley. One thing, Jackson State beat Valley, but Jackson State did not blow Valley off the football. That was one thing that I noticed. Defensive line is very formidable. And I think Jerry Garner leads a strong front seven from Mississippi Valley. They can get any sort of offense. They can be a difficult team. And the longer they hang in the game, they're going to give you issues. So that's something that I'm going to keep an eye on with Valley and Alabama State. Don't discount Valley going into Montgomery and getting a win.
Well, let me stay with you and get a prediction.
I like Jelani Easton. I like what he brings to Valley. I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to get Valley 21-17 over Alabama State.
Oh, that's a big one. He calling for the upset. Tyler, go back to you. Do you see an upset in this game?
You know what, Charles, man, you're Professor X over there reading my mind. I had 21-17 in my mind. I'm not trying to bite your stilo, but I got it the other way. I think Alabama State in a close one, but I think Mississippi Valley State is going to be impressive and show that you just can't walk over them. But I got it the other way, 21-17, Alabama State. Maybe me and Charles can put a sandwich on this game or something.
I know, right?
No doubt about it. Yeah, we heard it here. That's recorded. It's a sandwich on this game. With that, so we got Professor X over there. We got Professor Carr getting it in, giving us some updates. You are in the lab. That's what we do with our lectures. So have you realized, I just realized today that they finally have started to record the fact that Alcorn State was forfeiting their games that they played this season. So Texas Southern has a win on the season now. They officially have won that game 2-0, which is a score of a recorded forfeit, if you would. Game forfeited due to Alcorn State withdrawing from the season at the late date. So fascinating there. Any thoughts in regards to Texas Southern getting the victory?
Go Tigers.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I'm still trying to figure it out for the last couple of years, man. How did you get a basketball school in Texas? Like, somehow, some way, there has to be a way that Texas Southern is going to live up to the fact that they are in the state of Texas, what is considered one of the football capitals of all the world, with all that talent, man. And somebody's got to turn that thing around. It just can't keep going like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. in regards to them finding a way to get it done. And the big thing about Texas Southern University is not because they're not putting finances behind it. They put financing in the program. You know, they do play off campus, but it is at a state-of-art facility, MLS soccer facility, but it's state-of-art, no matter where you look at it. And they pay their coaches. And so you got some of the best salaries in the league. So it's not like they're significant about what's going on. They're finally getting past some of the NCAA penalties and things of that nature, which has hurt them in terms of recruiting. So I think if there's a coach that can get it done, Coach McKenzie, he has the ability, and he's doing it on the long hike, is really bringing in young talent there, a couple of key transfers. So the time is needed there. The question becomes, in terms of just like any fan base, is just how patient can they be? With that, let me give the floor to you, Tyler Carr, for any closing thoughts that you have on this evening.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, man. I always, sit around and watch it, and you guys are expanding and doing more shows per week. So first of all, thank you for letting me be here. And thank the fans who always support us at HBCU Game Day. We just put out a video, man, that Wally Pitt put together. It's about 30 minutes, an entire episode of the No Huddle, just on his trip to Jackson for Jackson State and Southern. So I know a lot of you guys watched it on ESPN, but if you want to see the things that you'll never see on ESPN, and no smoke intended there, but if you want to get in the stands, out in the tailgate, see the game from a different angle, go to our YouTube channel and check out our full episode of the No Huddle. It's a special on Jackson State and Southern. I guarantee you'll be entertained and feel like you were at the tailgate yourself.
And if you don't know and you have ready to go, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe when you go there. Make sure you lock it down. We need those subscriptions. With that, Tyler Carr, I really appreciate you and your time. Tell Wally Pipp that we're coming from him. We're going to bring him on too as we make the circuit in terms of bringing folks in. So I know he likes to stay mostly behind the camera, but we're going to pull him out and give us some of his insights.
You don't realize how much Wally talks, man. That brother can go. You might have to get a dump button. He just starts talking. You just hit the button. He'll still be over there talking. He won't even realize.
Oh man, yeah, we didn't realize it. Thank you, Charles. Safe trip out there. We'll be hooking up and tell us more. Really excited to hear that you got it going on and got a chance to go out there and play some golf, I should say, and celebrate it. But any final thoughts as we close out from you, Charles?
Appreciate you coming on, Tyler. Of course, got an opportunity to meet Wally last week at the Jackson State Southern game. Of course, we'll be doing Jackson State's pregame show here on the Black College Sports Network. So definitely tune in an hour before kickoff tomorrow with Jackson State and Alabama A&M. But Dr. Ville, another awesome show. Coach Maynor always nails whenever we talk to him. So really looking forward to tomorrow.
No doubt about it. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, the Dean of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Sitting in today, none other than Professor Carr, Mr. Tyler Carr of HBCU Game Day. Continue to check him out, support him and what they're doing down there. Obviously, our guest with head Alabama A&M football coach Cornell Maynor, giving us some little insight and being just as famous as he is in terms of giving us the good chuckles. Kept him over a little more because we knew we'd get it out of him sooner or later. And again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday right here at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We look forward to seeing you next week as we discuss the latest in the news. Lab, join us Sunday as well as we give you a recap of the games we broke down today. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's DrKenyattaCavil. Again, that's DrKenyattaCavil. Follow us on Twitter at Inside HBCU Sports Lab 1. Follow us on Facebook, I should say, not football, but football on Facebook, right? Follow us there and make sure you subscribe. Follow BCSN Network as we are on the apps. Dream big and continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Tyler, any? Pete? Charles?
Of course.
Lecture.
Dismissed.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU, and man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavill, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to